Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. In this one we're going to take a look at the argument assignment. Really just the instructions, and there's a sample assignment. Both are posted on our course page. I'll try to keep this video particularly brief, as with everything else I'm going to say in this course in the various video explanations. The video explanations are not a full substitute for going to the original source. So in this case, read these instructions, read the sample assignment. But part of what I want to try to give you here is just a bit of an orientation about it. What is it? What's the purpose, the point? What do you have to do? How intense is it? So in this case, in this first week of the course yet, I'm going to be posting a video lecture on philosophical argumentation, and there's an accompanying reading on that. So this assignment is really taking the skills from that part of the course and putting them into practice on whatever you want. So this is really a kind of practice assignment on producing arguments to get you familiar with doing that. As I've noted in the video on the forum participation instructions, in this course, I'm not just looking for you to share how you feel, right? Like, I hope you feel well. I want to hear your ideas, but I want to hear your reasons. I want to hear your arguments, right? We're interested in reasoned discourse here, not just, right, oh, here's how I happen to feel, right? Now, of course, you can take your feelings and support them with reasons, right? The exchange between feelings and reasons are good ones. We often feel a certain way for particular sorts of reasons. So I'm not trying to somehow denigrate or completely dismiss feelings here. I'm just saying, I'm not just interested in you just sharing whatever you happen to think. It's very much about, people should believe this, not just you, and that's not what we're interested in. It's not just like, well, I didn't like this film. Okay, right? Is there something unlikable about it? Is there some good reason people shouldn't like the film? Or is there some good reason people should hold a certain belief about the film? I'm sorry, I just got distracted by a bird. I'm going to close a window. Okay, sorry. Trees just outside of my window, and the window is open. The screen's there, but it was still distracting. And now I'm just making a big thing of it. So forget it. Okay, so the arguments, this argument assignment. You're going to engage in this really after we go through that introduction to argumentation. This is due next Tuesday, so Tuesday, July 14th, just before midnight. It's due via Turnitin. See the syllabus for the information on how to enroll in our Turnitin course. Note this here. When you try to submit your assignment to Turnitin, you have to choose what file you want to submit. Turnitin thinks for a minute, it sort of processes, and then you have to confirm the submission. So in some ways, you have to do this twice. You have to upload it or confirm it twice. You got to hit like, yes, I want this. Once it's submitted, you should get a Turnitin digital receipt. It'll tell you, congratulations, you've uploaded your file. It will either just give you the receipt or offer to give you the receipt. Without that receipt, you haven't actually uploaded your document yet. You haven't actually made the submission. So make sure you get that receipt. If you think you submit this, and then I go to return everything a few days later, and you don't get it back, and you say, well, I swore I uploaded it. I'll say, okay, where's your receipt? Because I can contact Turnitin, and they can do basically a review on their end of technological issues to see if anything funny happened, right? If you say, well, I didn't get a receipt, that means you didn't submit it. So without the receipt, you haven't actually submitted it yet. And I can't help you. If you come to me and say, oh, I swear I uploaded it, but I didn't get a receipt, I'll say, then you didn't get it, right? And you know this because it's on the instructions, it's in the videos. There's no excuse now. You know this, so you have to have the receipt for basically for me to say, yeah, I think you actually submitted it. If you encounter problems trying to upload to Turnitin, you don't know if it worked properly, email me your assignment. All right. I still want you to do it through Turnitin. That's how I'm going to grade it and everything. But you can email me a copy if you are at all uncertain about whether or not I uploaded successfully. This assignment has no particular length. It's probably going to be fairly short, a page or two, all things considered. There's a sample assignment we'll take a look at in a moment. It's worth 5% of your final grade. Double space it. There's a 1-point penalty. This is graded at 10 points. There's a very granular rubric. I'm going to take a point off if you don't double space. Double space it. I'm going to ask you to do this with your essays as well. The forums don't matter, but the argument assignment and the essays I want double spaced. It's just a lot easier for me to deal with and mark up and comment on and read and so on. So here are the instructions. Very short version. Again, read these. Create an argument using the material and the concepts introduced in a brief introduction to philosophical argumentation. That's really what I want you to do. So you got to make an argument, and it can be about anything. It doesn't have to be about anything we're talking about in the course. This argument, whatever you're thinking about, we reason all the time. We reason every day. This can be about what courses to enroll in the fall, whether or not you should buy a new car, if you should, I don't know, whatever, try a new breakfast cereal. Think about it yourself. Should you watch a particular show or movie or whatever? Should you stay in the course? Right there, you can write on that. Should I stay in the course or not? What sorts of reasons might there be? Now, the argument has to have certain features to it. So I don't really care what the argument's about. Right? It can be about anything, and you just make it up. You don't have to do any research for this. You don't have to, find a bunch of extra material. You just make this up off the top of your head. It's really just to demonstrate your understanding of that argumentation material and get you a sense of what we're interested in doing in the course. Your argument has to contain at least 2 clearly identified reasons for the main conclusion, right? And every part of each reason should be clearly stated. There should be nothing hidden or unstated, right? Nothing that's being assumed and just sort of snuck in there. We're going to talk more about all this in the introduction to argumentation. Contain a clearly stated main conclusion that's actually supported by the reasons provided, and contain at least one objection and a clear response to that objection. I'm going to be asking you to do exactly these things in the essays, but the essays are more complicated because not only do you have to have clear reasons, have a conclusion, make sure the reasons actually support the conclusion, raise an objection, respond to it. You're going to have to do all of that while engaging with the course material. So looking at the readings and the films and bringing those together and saying something interesting about them and producing arguments that directly connect to that material. In this assignment, you're just making the argument, right? So we're getting rid of all that other more complicated stuff. You don't have to cite things. You don't have to engage with course material. There's nothing particular I want you to talk about. It can be whatever you want. So you can just focus on the arguments in this part of it. So there's a rubric down here. There's really 5 parts to it. Each part is worth up to 2 points. So look, I want 2 reasons for each of them that is offered that it's a clear reason that really connects to the conclusion, and it doesn't have hidden or unstated parts. That gets you 2 points, right? You get 1 point if there's something not quite right about it. No points if there just isn't a reason at all. 2 points for a clear main conclusion, right? Which, and a main conclusion and a conclusion and a thesis are the same thing. And I want to talk more about that when we talk about the arguments and the essays as well. So you've got some kind of conclusion, you raise some kind of objection, it's kind of good objection, and you respond to it. It's really all this assignment is. This assignment shouldn't take too long to produce. I'll say, maybe an hour, maybe a little longer, maybe a little shorter. One other thing I'm going to say here is that if you look at this rubric, there aren't any points directly for writing or anything like that, spelling and grammar. If the writing presents a real obstacle to me understanding the reasons or say the conclusion, at some point, issues in the writing could jeopardize some of the marks just because it might make things unclear. But the writing on its own isn't worth anything here. There's no points for citations or anything like that. So again, you can just focus on the argument for this assignment. In the essays, I am going to be looking at things like spelling and grammar and overall structure and citations and so on. So here is the sample assignment. This is really all I'm looking for. This is what I'm expecting your finished product roughly to be like. It can be a little bit different, but really there's going to be an argument. And so in this case, my argument, so I was trying to figure out what to do my sample assignment about. I was sitting there, what argument should I use, right? And well, I'll be honest, I didn't really want to make the sample assignment. And so I said, well, why don't I just make the sample assignment about whether or not I should make the sample assignment? That seems like a very philosophical thing to do. So my conclusion is that I should make a sample assignment for my students, right? And why should I do it? Well, I go ahead and offer you some reasons in favor of it, right? Here's a couple of different reasons. And then I raise the objection, right? Despite the merits of making a sample assignment, I really just like to goof off and play video games, which I very much did want to do. And then I responded to it, and in this case, the response is really just that being lazy isn't a good reason by itself not to do something helpful to you. So you have to produce an argument, right? Here, short paragraph, right? It's roughly the length of what your forum posts are going to be. Roughly. I think this is maybe a little bit shorter. The forum posts don't have to quite do all these same things. They don't have to raise an objection and respond to it, but they should be pointing to a conclusion, suggesting some reasons, and the forum, in addition, will be making use of the course content. Now, in addition to actually producing the argument, you also have to pick it apart. So you have to tell me, you have to identify what the conclusion is, what the different reasons are, what the objection is, what the response to the objection is. Now, the easiest way to do that is just by following the format I have here. I just have the argument all together here. It's just, piece of prose, piece of writing. And then I pick it apart. I just copy and paste what I wrote. And I just identify, say, here's the conclusion, here's the first reason, here's the second reason. You can also color code it if you want, as long as you make it clear what the different colors mean. Like the conclusion could be green. So you could highlight the conclusion in green, then you have to put sort of a spot with the green highlighting and say, green equals conclusion. And whatever other colors you want to use to pick the other things there. So you can really, anything that clearly identifies those 5 different parts of the assignment: the main conclusion, the 2 reasons, the response or the objection, and the response to the objection. If you have those 5 things and they're clear and there's no hidden parts and so on, that's really all it is. Put some time into this assignment. You can do quite well. In many ways, this assignment is a low-stakes assignment to make sure you understand what's going on in the argumentation material. Gives you a chance to develop an argument about just anything you're interested in. Get a little bit of early feedback from me before you go into writing one of the essays, which is worth considerably more. It also takes more time and energy. And I think this assignment should give you a good chance to not only sort of read the material and argumentation, watch the video and so on, but to actually try to do something with it. Because once you do that, I think the material is going to sink in a lot more. It's also a great time where once you go to actually do something with material, you might realize you've got some questions or there's something that wasn't as clear as you thought it was. That gives you a good chance to go back and review the material and to come ask me some questions if you haven't. So I'll go ahead and just stop that there. Read the instructions. Read that sample assignment, actually look through both of them. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me before the due date. And keep in mind that it's even the terminology being used there, conclusion, and reasons and objections, and so on. We're going to talk about all that in the introduction to argument material later this week. So go ahead and stop there. You'll see me in the next video on essays. Until then, bye for now.